Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm really looking forward to today's episode because it touches on something so many of us face in our daily lives. When we start something new, a goal, a habit, a routine, we usually feel super motivated in the beginning. We're excited. We can see the results in our minds. We feel like we're ready to change our lives, and that energy is amazing. But the problem is that energy doesn't last. Some days we wake up and we just don't feel like doing anything. We feel tired, unmotivated, distracted, or even discouraged. And it's in those moments that most people start to fall off. They skip one day, then another, and before they know it, they've lost all that progress and they feel stuck again. They say, I'll get back on track when I feel motivated. But the truth is, motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. You can't depend on it to carry you through the hard days. This is where discipline comes in. And this is what today's episode is all about, because discipline is what makes the difference between someone who talks about their goals and someone who actually achieves them. It's what helps you keep going when you don't feel inspired, when it's not fun, when it's hard, when it's boring. Discipline is about making a commitment and following through no matter how you feel in the moment. And that's what we're diving into today. Why? Discipline beats motivation every time, and how learning to be disciplined can completely change the way you approach your goals, your habits, and even the way you see yourself. So if you've ever felt frustrated with your lack of consistency, or you've been waiting to feel motivated again, this episode is definitely for you. Let's talk about it. So here's the thing about motivation. It's great when it's there, right? Like when you're feeling super pumped and ready to take on the world. It feels amazing. It gives you that burst of energy to start something new. Maybe you've got this big idea or goal, and in that moment, you're all in, you're ready to change everything. But the reality is that feeling doesn't stick around. It fades sometimes, even by the next morning. And that's totally normal, because motivation is emotional. It's tied to your mood too, your environment, to what's happening around you. So it's not something you can count on every single day. That's why a lot of people struggle with consistency, because they only move when they feel inspired. They wait for that magical push to get started again. And the problem with that is that you end up doing things in short bursts. You start strong, but you don't follow through, because the moment the motivation disappears, so does the action. And then you're stuck in this cycle of starting over and over again without really moving forward. So yeah, motivation might get you going, but it's not what's going to keep you going. And that's why we need something more solid, something that doesn't depend on how we feel in the moment. And that's where discipline steps in. But we'll get to that in a second. The main point here is motivation is not reliable. It's fun, it's exciting, but it doesn't last. And if we want to be consistent and actually make progress, we need to stop waiting to feel motivated and start thinking about what we do when we don't feel like it. Discipline is really where the magic happens, because unlike motivation, discipline doesn't care how you feel. It's not about waiting for the right mood or the perfect time. It's about making a decision and sticking to it no matter what. And that's what creates consistency. Like, think about it. It's easy to do something when you're in the mood, but how often does that mood actually show up? And how long does it last? If you only rely on motivation, your effort is going to be random. But if you rely on discipline, your effort becomes consistent. And that's when things start to move. When you're disciplined, you show up on the good days and the bad ones. You do the work, even when you're tired, even when you're bored, even when it feels like nothing's changing. And that kind of consistency is powerful, because progress isn't always about making huge leaps forward. Sometimes it's about doing the small things every single day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like it's not working right away. And the thing is, consistency builds momentum. The more you show up, the more it becomes a part of your routine. And the more it becomes a part of who you are. Discipline trains your mind to follow through it. Helps you build that trust with yourself, where you know you'll do what needs to be done, whether you're feeling it or not. And that kind of mindset is what leads to real results over time. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you going. And without that consistency, it's really hard to move forward in anything, whether it's fitness, work, study, personal growth, whatever it is. Discipline is what keeps you grounded when motivation fades. We often look at successful people and think, wow, they must be so motivated all the time, like they must wake up every morning excited to work out or build their business or study or create whatever it is they're doing. And honestly, that's just not the case. Most of the time, they're not relying on motivation at all. What they're doing is relying on discipline. They've built routines, they've built systems, and they stick to them whether they feel like it or not. That's the real difference. Like take athletes, for example, professional, ones that don't train every day because they're always motivated they train, because it's part of who they are, it's scheduled, it's expected, it's just what they do. And same thing with authors or creators or entrepreneurs that don't always feel inspired, but they've made writing or working or creating part of their daily structure. They've learned to separate their feelings from their actions. And that's powerful, because if you wait around for motivation to strike, you'll always be stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping. But if you treat your goals like a job, like a commitment that doesn't depend on your mood, you'll show up way more often. And that's when things really start to grow. So yes, successful people might have moments of motivation, just like anyone else. But what keeps them going, what keeps them consistent, is discipline. They don't depend on the high energy days. They've trained themselves to keep moving even on the low ones. And that's exactly what sets them apart. Discipline is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to building trust in yourself. And that trust is the foundation of everything. Think about it. When you commit to something, whether it's a goal, a routine, or a habit, and then you actually follow through with it day in and day out, you're proving something to yourself. You're proving that you can be reliable, that you can stick with your decisions, even when the excitement or motivation isn't there. Now, imagine the opposite. How many times have you set a goal or made a promise to yourself, but ended up not following through? Maybe you skipped a workout, pushed a project aside, or told yourself you'd get to something later, but never did. Each time you break a promise to yourself, even a small one, it adds up. It creates a kind of self-doubt, even if it's subconscious. You begin to question your own ability to stay consistent, to show up when things get tough, or when you're just not feeling it. And that breaks down your confidence over time. Discipline, though, works in a different way. The more you show up and do what you said you would, the more you prove to yourself that you can trust yourself. It's a cycle of reinforcement. You commit to something, you follow through, and then you prove to yourself that you have the ability to follow through again and again. Over time, you stop questioning yourself because you've built a pattern of success. And with that comes an inner confidence, one that's not dependent on external motivation or validation, but on your own ability to follow through, to push through even when it's hard, and to keep moving forward even on days when you don't feel like it. The incredible thing is that this self-trust doesn't just stay in one area of your life. It starts to bleed into other areas too. The more you prove that you can stick with one habit or goal, the more you'll trust yourself to tackle new challenges, to take risks, and to show up in ways you hadn't before. It builds your resilience, your self-reliance, and your belief in your own capabilities. And the more you practice discipline, the stronger that trust becomes. It's like a muscle that grows the more you work it out. Discipline is the process of showing yourself that you are reliable, that you are capable, and that you can always count on yourself, no matter how difficult the journey gets. And that's a kind of confidence that can't be shaken by a bad day or a dip in motivation, because it's built on the solid foundation of consistency and follow through. Over time, discipline becomes who you are. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who struggles to stay on track or gives up easily, and instead, you start seeing yourself as someone who does what they say they're going to do. No excuses. That's trust. That's self-belief. And that's how discipline really changes the game. One of the most interesting things about discipline is how it actually helps you get motivated, even when you're not feeling it. We often think that motivation comes first, that we need to feel inspired or excited in order to take action. But the truth is that action can actually spark motivation. It's kind of like this. You're sitting there, not feeling motivated at all, and you tell yourself, okay, I'm just going to start, even if it's just a little bit. So you take that first step, whether it's writing a paragraph, doing one push-up, or reading a page. And here's the surprising part. Once you start, the motivation often follows. It's like a snowball effect. Once you take action, even if it's a small action, your brain starts to shift. You feel a sense of accomplishment, no matter how small the task, and that can trigger a boost of energy or excitement. It's not magic, it's just how our brains work. When we complete something, our brains release dopamine, the feel-good chemical that makes us feel satisfied, which can motivate us to keep going. So, instead of waiting around for the motivation to show up, you start building it by simply taking that first step. This is why discipline and action go hand in hand. If you wait for motivation to hit before you do anything, you'll often find yourself stuck. But when you start taking action, you begin to generate that motivation yourself. The more you do, the more momentum you build, and the more you feel inspired to keep going. It's a powerful cycle, and it all starts with just deciding to do something, even if it's the smallest possible step. That's why discipline isn't about forcing yourself to feel motivated every day. It's about creating an environment where action leads to motivation, and motivation, in turn, keeps you going. So instead of waiting for the perfect moment when you're feeling it, just start. That first step might be all it takes to reignite the motivation. Discipline isn't something that just magically appears. It's something you build over time. And the best part is, it's a skill you can develop, just like any other. You don't have to be born with discipline. You can train it, and the more you practice, the stronger it becomes. It's all about making small, consistent decisions and sticking with them, even when it's hard or when you don't feel like it. Think of it like building a muscle. At first, it's difficult, but the more you work at it, the easier it gets. One of the ways you can start building discipline is by setting small, achievable goals. These goals don't have to be huge or life-changing right away. In fact, starting small is key. When you break down a big goal into smaller steps, it becomes much easier to stay consistent because you're focusing on one manageable thing at a time. Whether it's getting up 10 minutes earlier, writing a few sentences each day, or adding a quick workout to your routine, these little actions build up over time. At first, it might feel tough or unnatural, but as you keep doing it, you start creating a habit, and habits require less effort the more you practice them. Another important part of building discipline is being patient with yourself. It's easy to get discouraged if you slip up or if you don't see instant results. But the truth is, discipline isn't about perfection. It's about showing up consistently, even when you don't feel like it, and even when you mess up. Instead of seeing mistakes or setbacks as failures, view them as part of the learning process. Each time you get back on track, you strengthen your discipline. Eventually, discipline becomes second nature. The actions that once required effort and willpower to complete become automatic, part of your daily rhythm. The key is sticking with it, even when it feels hard, and over time, you'll find that discipline becomes easier and easier. What started out as a conscious decision to do something, even when you don't feel like it, becomes an integral part of your lifestyle. You don't need to rely on motivation anymore. You've created a system that works. Discipline, the power, is what sets the foundation for long-lasting change because it turns actions into habits. When you stay committed to something, even when it feels tough, those actions eventually become second nature. You don't have to think twice about them anymore, and the energy it takes to do them becomes less and less over time. That's because discipline doesn't just push you to take action once. It's the driving force that helps turn those actions into regular routines that you follow without even thinking about it. Take something simple, like brushing your teeth. In the beginning, it's something you consciously make an effort to do every day. But after a while, it becomes automatic. You don't need to remind yourself or motivate yourself to do it. You just do it because it's part of your routine. The same principle applies to other areas of your life when you apply discipline. The more you repeat an action, even when you don't feel like it, the more it becomes ingrained in your daily habits. Once those habits start to form, you find that they no longer take up so much of your mental energy. They become routine, something you just do because it's part of your day. And this is one of the best things about discipline. It frees you from constantly needing to make decisions or wait for motivation. Your daily actions become automatic, which makes staying on track with your goals easier over time. Discipline is what makes all of this possible. When you keep showing up, even on the tough days, you create momentum. Over time, that momentum turns into consistency, and consistency builds habits. Those habits don't rely on your motivation anymore because they've become part of your routine. That's when real growth happens. Whether it's working out, reading, or sticking to a project, the more disciplined you are, the more those actions transform into effortless habits that support your goals without requiring constant willpower or energy. Discipline doesn't just help you get things done, it teaches you to embrace discomfort and push through it. The truth is, growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone, and the road to success is often uncomfortable. It's easy to want to quit when things get hard or when you're not feeling motivated. That's where discipline steps in. It helps you do the work even when it's tough, even when you'd rather be doing something else, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Discipline teaches you to keep going despite discomfort. Imagine starting a new workout routine or learning a new skill. At first, it feels awkward, difficult, and maybe even frustrating. There are days when you're sore or when you feel like you're not making any progress at all. Motivation might come and go, but discipline is what gets you to show up even when things aren't perfect. It teaches you to push through the discomfort because you know it's part of the process. Without discipline, you might quit when things get hard, and that's where most people lose momentum. Discipline helps you shift your perspective on discomfort. Instead of seeing it as a signal to stop, you begin to see it as a sign that you're pushing your limits and growing. It helps you embrace the tough moments, the challenges, and the obstacles, because you understand that those are the moments that will make you stronger in the long run. When you rely on motivation alone, you might only push through the easy days, the days when everything feels great, but discipline is what keeps you going on the tough days, too. And here's the thing. The more you push through discomfort, the more you start to build resilience. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you're building a stronger version of yourself. It's like a muscle. The more you challenge yourself, the more you grow. Over time, you start to embrace discomfort as a natural part of progress, and you learn to keep moving forward no matter how tough things get. Discipline doesn't just push you to do the work. It trains you to handle the discomfort that comes with it, making you more resilient and more capable of handling whatever challenges lie ahead. Discipline also teaches you how to prioritize your long-term goals over short-term pleasures. It's easy to get distracted by instant gratification, the things that feel good in the moment but don't help you reach your bigger goals. Whether it's scrolling through social media, watching TV, or just procrastinating, we all face moments where we'd rather take the easy route than do the hard work. But this is where discipline truly shines. It helps you recognize that the things that give you immediate satisfaction might be taking you away from your long-term success. Discipline is about making conscious choices every day that align with your bigger picture. It's about deciding to put in the effort today for a better tomorrow, even if it means delaying a moment of pleasure. Think about it. When you choose to stick to a workout routine instead of binge-watching a show, or when you decide to focus on your studies instead of checking your phone, you're making a decision to invest in your future. That's the power of discipline. It helps you weigh the value of what you're doing now against the long-term benefits you'll get later. One of the most powerful things about discipline is that it makes these choices easier over time. At first, it might feel like a battle every time you have to choose the harder path. But the more you practice discipline, the more you learn to make decisions that align with your long-term vision. These decisions become more automatic, and over time, you begin to see the fruits of your effort. The more consistent you are with making these choices, the more you start to see the progress you've made toward your goals. The real magic of discipline is that it turns short-term sacrifices into long-term rewards. You might not see the results right away, but over time, the work you've put in adds up, and you start to reap the rewards of all those little decisions you made along the way. Whether it's achieving a fitness goal, advancing in your career, or learning a new skill, discipline helps you focus on what's important, even when it's not the easiest thing to do in the moment. It teaches you that success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of consistent, disciplined choices made over time. Discipline allows you to take control of your life and stay focused on what truly matters, especially when distractions are everywhere. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with information, notifications, and temptations that can pull us away from our priorities. It's easy to get sidetracked by social media, news, or even just random thoughts that distract us from the important tasks at hand. Discipline helps you cut through the noise and stay focused on your goals, even when the world around you is pulling your attention in different directions. When you're disciplined, You're able to block out distractions and commit to what's truly important. For example, if you're working on a project, instead of checking your phone every few minutes or letting your mind wander, you can focus solely on the task in front of you. This level of focus is what sets disciplined individuals apart from others. It's not that they don't get distracted, but they've developed the ability to stay on track and redirect their attention back to what matters. Discipline also helps you manage your time better. Instead of procrastinating or letting things pile up, you start to prioritize tasks, break them down into manageable steps, and stay committed to completing them. It's about making sure that you're spending your time on the things that align with your goals and values, not just filling your days with busy work. With discipline, you start to create a routine that maximizes your productivity and helps you stay on top of your responsibilities without feeling overwhelmed. One of the most powerful aspects of discipline is that it empowers you to create your own structure. You're no longer at the mercy of external forces or circumstances. When you're disciplined, you can structure your day to work for you, setting aside time for work, rest, personal development, and socializing without feeling like you're being pulled in a million directions. It's about taking control of your time so you can live your life with purpose and intention. Instead of reacting to the chaos around you, you're proactively making choices that align with your long-term vision. Over time, discipline transforms your life. It gives you the freedom to focus on what's truly important rather than constantly being distracted by external factors. And that ability to stay focused and intentional is what leads to real, lasting success. In conclusion, discipline is the key to achieving long-term success and personal growth. While motivation can be fleeting, discipline is what keeps you moving forward, even when the enthusiasm fades or life gets tough. It teaches you to take consistent action, push through discomfort, and prioritize your long-term goals over short-term pleasures. Discipline doesn't just help you get things done. It transforms your mindset, turning difficult tasks into habits and making success a natural outcome of your consistent effort. By embracing discipline, you start to build a life where your actions align with your goals, and your future is shaped by the decisions you make today. Rather than waiting for motivation to strike, discipline empowers you to take control of your life. Stay focused on what truly matters and work towards your dreams with purpose. Over time, you'll see how discipline creates momentum, turning small, disciplined choices into lasting success. Remember, discipline isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up, even on the tough days, and staying committed to your vision. As you continue to practice discipline, it becomes easier, and soon, the things that once felt challenging become second nature. The path to success isn't about finding the perfect motivation. It's about building the discipline to keep going, no matter what. And in the end, that's what will get you where you want to go.